CNN boss Jeff Zucker has fallen on his own sword for lying about an affair with a colleague during an investigation into another scandal at the channel. That one was involving the former host, Chris Cuomo.
Jeff Zucker, a world-class sleazebag who has headed ratings and real news challenge CNN for far too long, has been terminated for numerous reasons, but predominantly because CNN has lost its way with viewers and everybody else.
It had been a few weeks since someone at CNN resigned over some sexual deviancy, but Jeff Zucker came through today and made sure we didn't forget what a band of sick perverts that entire news channel is.
Jeff Zucker surprised his employees with an email announcing that he had been having an affair, a consensual affair, with an employee, one of his colleagues, and he did not disclose it under CNN's policies. What started out as a friendship evolved into a romantic relationship, and because of that, he is stepping down from CNN.
I acknowledge the relationship evolved in recent years. I was required to disclose it when it began, but I didn't. I was wrong. As a result, I am resigning.
Back in December, John Griffin, a producer at CNN, was arrested by the FBI on rather serious charges. He was taken to federal prison where he waits trial. John Griffin was charged with setting up a facility to run interstate commerce for the purpose of, luring in young underage girls and their parents and training these underage girls to be sexually submissive. This is someone who rubbed shoulders with Chris Cuomo, and you'll recall that Chris Cuomo also stepped down because it was proven that he was colluding with his brother, Andrew Cuomo, when he was facing scandals and eventually stepped down as governor of New York.
When my brother's situation became turbulent, being looped into calls with other friends of his and advisors that did include some of his staff, I understand why that was a problem for CNN.
There's been another recent dust-up. Kate Rosenfeld, a CNN commentator, Kat Rosenfeld, she compared Joe Rogan's audience, the podcaster Joe Rogan, who's been at the center of some controversy recently. She compared his audience to people that are overweight and made some other comments that many did not appreciate about the audience of Joe Rogan. Here's what she said.
Here's people who, they like something that we, who consider ourselves more enlightened, don't think is good for them. We think that they're internalizing this misinformation, that they're using it to make bad decisions.
Many found these remarks to be somewhat ironic because the listenership and viewership of Joe Rogan's podcast is roughly 11 million people. Now, it's important to note that the viewership of CNN has been significantly decreasing. Last year, in the first week of January, viewership of CNN was at 2.7 million. But now, in the first week of this year, it was only 548,000. And many have looked on at this, and they've noticed that trust for mainstream media in the United States is certainly declining, according to polls. And now I guess we see that Jeff Zucker, after 9 years, the head of CNN, is stepping down. Not good times for CNN and for American mainstream media.
We spent a moment talking to legal and media analyst Lionel. He says CNN, like some other outlets, are essentially on their last legs.
If CNN was a patient in a hospital, the doctor would call a code. The doctor would look at his watch and say, call it, that's it. They put the sheet over the patient. CNN is gone. If I didn't know better, I think CNN, before every broadcast, says, what can we say that is so fundamentally stupid, so unbelievable that people will talk about it? Because we're not getting audiences from doing what we're doing. We have to get audiences by having people comment on how stupid we are. Many people expect there to be fairness. Many people believe that CNN owes them a duty of fairness. People will say, this isn't fair. CNN, they're journalists. They're supposed to be journalists. This isn't fair. How can you say this? How can you get away with this? How can they do this? If you can't do well on your show, say something stupid and hope somehow that, social media picks up on it. If social media pick up on your story, maybe that will help, because that's the second tier of their worth. Not truth, not journalistic integrity. No. They don't care about that. Did you notice us? How do we do on the clicks, on the metrics? Do we get likes? Are we being retweeted? What are people saying? Are we viral? That's all they care about. Cable news is like a runaway train or a monster that keeps eating and consuming, and you've got to keep feeding this monster 24 hours a day. Anything, paper, just feed it. News, stories, anything, a click, repeat what other people are doing. Start your own problem.